Okay, this is Phil, and we're going to be interviewing my niece here, Tabia McCarty,
Hello.
and we're going to talk a little bit about Tabia's journey as an artist. Okay, so Tabia, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up? What kind of inspired you to do what you're doing?
Hi everyone. My name's Tabia. I grew up in Florida, so Southwest Florida. Um, in terms of what inspired me, I think that when I was really young, I just always liked art. So I always joke that I've been drawing since I could hold a pencil. Um, so when I was young, I just liked to color, and my dad is also an artist, so he was always pushing me to, oh, just keep drawing, draw every day, like that was a big philosophy of his. So yeah, just never stop drawing. Um, did it all throughout high school. I went to like a Center for the Arts high school, so that was really nice because it kind of helped me focus on art a little bit there.
Did
And
you in
then
high school have access to digital art platforms?
Kind of a little bit. It was a little bit new for
Okay.
when I was going to school, but I did because of my dad. So he got me like a tablet, like a really tiny one when I was young, and like Coral Painter 8, just like a
Okay.
really old drawing program. So I sort of did that on my own time. Um,
And then
yeah.
what you did, then it came time for you to make a decision about college.
Mm.
And
Mm.
here you are, you're artistic, and I'm sure you had
Mm-hmm.
doubts, what and
Mm.
thoughts about what you would do.
Mm-hmm.
Would you go to college? What would you do? What would you
Mm-hmm.
major in? Where would you go? So how was that
Right.
experience?
That's a good question. I think that like really early on, I was always good at school. So I was like, okay, am I gonna waste my talents if, like I'm top percentage of school? Should I be an artist? Like what does that mean? Like, should I just be a doctor? Like, is that the smart thing to do? So that is something I struggled a lot with, but I think at the end of the day, I just wanted to have a job that I really cared about and sort of listen to my heart a little bit more than I listened to my head in that moment. So I kind of got lucky because we had recruiters come to our high school. So a recruiter came from Full Sail. There's one that came from Ringling, which is this college that I ended up going to. Um, and I think because they came, they showed us presentations. It really kind of helped me visualize what jobs were available out there if I did decide to go to an art college. And I was lucky, based off the location that I was, that there was artistic schools recruiting, and that I went to like a Center for the Arts high school. So they were always sort of like art was in the air. It was always kind of like something that was talked about. It was nothing that I had to go and like look hard to find, like some of my college mates sort of had to do. So,
Did you learn about different career options that were available to you as an artist?
mm,
Me
hmm,
being a teacher, I'm always, oh, you can always be an art teacher, but
hmm,
you got to love kids first, not art.
right.
So
You have to love teaching.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the goal there. So tell us a little bit about
Hmm.
that thought
Mm.
process.
I think that's something that is helpful when I first visited the campus. So when I went to go to the college campus, I toured around and saw all the different departments that they had. And so the departments like kind of directly correlate to jobs that you would have in the market. So for example, there was a game art and design center, and then there was a computer animation center. And when I originally went, I thought I was going into game design because that's what I wanted. But then when I saw visually like what all the departments looked like, it sort of helped me change my mind. And my dad actually was the one who was like, I think you would be better in computer animation. So that's sort of what I was pushed to. But they have like graphic design, illustration, they have all these different departments that, yeah, correlate to different genres. Because sometimes people will think, like, oh, you're an artist, you can do graphic design, so can you like design my logo? And I'm like, that's like a completely different department. I'm horrible at it. So I'm like, no, it's like a totally different field.
I would
So,
imagine there's got to be dozens of
mm-hmm,
directions you can go into as an artist
totally.
and be employed.
Yeah. Even within my major, computer animation, there's at least 20 different jobs you can get, like easy 20. There's like an entire pipeline from like drawing, storyboarding to like modeling, rigging, texturing, lighting, animating. Like there's so many jobs within just my one category of job. So It's
That's
like
amazing.
a
Tell us a
lot.
little bit about your employment journey. So now you've graduated from college. You made a decision you're going to go in one direction. So what
Yes,
was your
yeah, yeah.
employment journey?
So that's another really good question. It's in a weird place, especially with my job right now when it comes to employment. Back when I was in college, online schools were just starting. So if you really wanted to get a good placement at a company, you would go to a good college because they would get recruiters on campus. So that's what happened to me. I got recruited on campus and I was offered a job before I graduated college, to like a commercial house in Chicago. I had a ton of interviews. Like it was super competitive. The field's not easy to get into. That's kind of one of the difficult parts about starting up when you're an artist is for someone to give you a chance and to have that portfolio that gets your foot in the door. But it's also networking and knowing people. So going to an online school of someone who's already in the industry is a very common way that people get a job nowadays. They're not even going to brick and mortar schools like colleges anymore. They're going to like online schools, talking to the teachers, and then the teachers kind of have connections. But for me, there was a recruiter that came to campus that was an alumni of the school and had like a small company that they hired me for. So,
Okay. And so what are some of the jobs that you've done now since you've been professional?
so when I first started, I was a generalist with a specialist in animation. So like all 3D stuff, like 3D computer generated work. So I did commercials for about 4 years in Chicago and had a blast. It was super fun. I loved it. And then just so happened that I animated a spot with Nintendo that had Pikachu on it. And I was just sending my reel out kind of like everywhere because I sort of wanted to leave Chicago. And I sent it to a film studio in Vancouver who was working on the like Detective Pikachu movie. And they liked that I had Pikachu on my reel from the commercial house. So it was like a crazy coincidence. They told me after, he was like, yeah, it was just like, I saw you had Pikachu, so I was like, why not just like offer her the job and take a chance? Which was really kind of them to do. So it's really hard to not only break into the industry, but break into like film and TV, especially. So I think it's just like a combination of like luck and being prepared and just like always having your stuff updated and going out there and trying it, you know?
So you actually worked on the Pikachu film.
Yeah, yeah, the Detective Pikachu movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then and from there what was next?
So I stayed at that company for a little while and I did like a couple more films. We did Maleficent 2 after that, the Sonic movie, the first one, the live action one.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got a job to go work in Australia on Peter Rabbit 2. So I took like a 6 month and I left Vancouver and hung out in Australia for a while, which is really fun. And then came back to Vancouver to work on TV because the thing about like being a contract worker is the contracts will depend on where you work. So for commercials, for example, they're really short. They're often like a month long, 2 months long, sometimes even a couple weeks. For film, typically it was like 6 months. So I wanted something more stable, and TV was offering me like a 2 year long contract. So I was like, oh, that sounds really nice. Like, I just kind of want to chill out for a while. So I went to the TV commercial house and worked on a bunch of kids shows. So we worked on Go Dog Go, season 1 and 2. I worked on like Ninjago shows. It's called Lego Titans and Fireman Sam. Oh, I worked on Sonic Prime too. So I got to work on the movie, and then I worked on Sonic Prime, which was a really fun 3D show on Netflix. So yeah.
Wow.
It's like a lot of.
Wow. All right. So now here's the let's wrap this up with how about some advice for some young talented person who's contemplating what direction they want to go into. They're talented artist, but what do I do with that?
Like just a person who just really likes to draw.
I don't know. Just
Okay.
somebody in your position who's artistic.
Okay.
Are there jobs available? Is this a viable career? Is
Yeah.
this something that they should you said you pursued early. You said you went with your heart
Yeah.
more than your head.
Yeah.
Do you regret that?
Yeah, so I almost went even the programming route for a long time because I love computers. I loved my programming classes that I was in, and I've always been pretty technical. So that even tore me away. I was split between an artistic job and a technical job, and I decided to still go the artistic route just because I felt like because I enjoyed it more, I would get better at it and that I would excel more because I liked it the most. So I would say try to figure out like couple what you like. Like if you just like to draw, do you like anything else? Do you like computers as well? Because art plus computers could bring you in one direction. If you like to tell stories, if you're like a storyteller and you prefer that and you like to hand draw, like storyboarders, that's like totally your lane. There's even graphic designers have their own separate thing about like how they're good communicators. They really like selling product. Like they're good at design. Like if you really like graphic design, that kind of thing, there's like a different spot for you. So I think it's like get specific with what you like, and I would say if you can look for online resources, like online schools that are still reputable. There's a lot of good ones out there where you don't necessarily need to get that for your degree. It's not 100% necessary anymore, especially when you're in an art field where all they're doing is looking at your portfolio. Like having a strong portfolio and being able to show them your work, they'll look at that more than anything else when you first get started. So
But you got to know you have to have the skill sets,
right.
and you have to be careful to pick some place that's going to develop those skill sets,
Exactly.
or teach you the things you don't know.
Yeah, like the school that I went to is very reputable, and I learned a ton, and it was just outrageously expensive.
That was Ringling.
Yeah.
The circus.
Yeah, the circus school.
Yeah.
It's so expensive. So if anyone was in my shoes now, I would recommend not going to Ringling, but to go to an online school instead. And there's like maybe one benefit from going to the in-person school. They teach you to be a generalist. So because of that, I was able to break into the industry a little bit sooner because I didn't have like one specific skill. I had enough to kind of carry me through to get sort of any job I wanted at first before I could specialize, which I did later. But yeah.
That's awesome. Tabia, thank you for spending some of Christmas Day with me here videoing you.
Of course.
Let's go and eat some food.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go get some food.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys.